So this episode, we're gonna call it the bubble. Why are we calling it the bubble? Because if you're from Ohio, you know this little suburb called Shaker Heights. That's a fucking bubble. It's one of the best.
Absolutely.
It's one of the top bubbles in Ohio.
Absolutely.
I think you and I met eighth grade, seventh grade,
Seventh or eighth grade, yeah.
and we was like two peas in a pod. But then I feel like
Like,
everybody once freshman year hit, I feel like everybody was just like, okay, we're gonna remap our friendships around.
it was like, I think everything in high school was just, when I look back on it, everything A is a blur. And then two, I think like you said, everybody was so, angsty in middle school. Everybody was like trying to be hard by high school. They was like trying to revamp themselves and make themselves like, I don't even know, like
I feel like
tough.
some people definitely were. I'm just like, y'all better sit your asses down because y'all not about that life.
We live in a suburb. Calm down.
I think everybody's issue was thinking like they was able to get classes with their friends. It's just like, no, this is where like literally everybody's intelligence levels change.
Yep. And everybody started going into their placement classes, and then everyone starts taking different languages. It was a lot.
You were blessed if you were lucky to have the same lunch period.
Man, for real, you were blessed if you had the same lunch period because you would be like, okay, I finally get like 20 minutes to see my friends. But that was it.
One thing I really realized during lunch periods, especially like in high school, like naturally everybody just segregated. And I don't know if you realized that too, but like I walked around one time, you had like everybody really was just segregated the fuck up.
I realized that, like, I noticed it freshman year, but I really noticed it sophomore year when you would walk in the lunchroom and, like, say you were late to lunch for some reason, and you would walk in, you would be like, bro, all of the white people are sitting together, all the black people are sitting together, all the Asians are sitting together, like everyone had their own. But as funny as it seems as the lunchroom was segregated, I never felt that way in classes.
That's the thing. That's the crazy thing about it is like that's where I feel like everybody was like, okay, I can act natural. Like now I can finally get to my natural habitat because I remember it was like the one girls who was wearing the hijabs. Oh, I hope
Hmm.
I didn't butcher that, but like you literally seen a small table for them. Like her and her little girls have her kiki. The Asians was linked up,
Yes.
probably planning on whooping our asses. Like you just never know what they was talking about. It was just weird. And then you walk
And
into
then
the senior lounge, it's just like everybody's kumbaya and kicking it.
I was just about to say, and especially senior year when we were in the senior lounge, it wasn't like that. Like everybody sat anywhere, everybody sat together because A, we already didn't have that many tables. So it wasn't like you had the choice not to sit with anybody. And two, it was just like that was our space at the time. So like we was all kicking it. But when you would walk in the lunchroom, you'd be like, it's a whole different world.
Honestly, I think senior year was like that year where like everybody started to rekindle their friendships and stuff like that. Because pretty much like I came to Shaker. I was already honestly I was already living in Shaker towards the end of my fourth grade year, but I
Hmm.
came in like the start of fifth grade. So like I didn't really watch everybody change. Like I was as even still as an outsider coming in, I literally seeing how like everybody pretty much were already knit tight with each other. Like if this was the case, I'm like, Mom, can I go back to the West Side? Because I want my friends. I
Right.
want to graduate with my friends. And you got like Anaway and Fernway. I like all these other schools. I'm like, they was like, where do you guys come from? I'm like Hope Academy. Everybody talking about I came from Anaway. I'm just like, oh well, let me shut up.
That's so funny because I went to Hope Academy for kindergarten. But I did, and then I came to Shaker first through the rest of high school.
Which
But it
one?
was, I went to the one like right off of Buckeye
Oh,
behind Benedictine.
that had to be East because I went to
Yeah,
West.
so yeah, that was East. I went to East, and I remember coming in my first grade year. I was like, these people been going. They were like, oh yeah, everybody moved up from their kindergarten class, and I'm like, I just got here. But like you say, when you get to Woodbury, that was where everything changed because it was literally the merging of five elementary schools, and it was like, where are you coming from? And blah 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 blah. And I could see as an outsider being like, what you mean? Where am I coming from? Like we didn't all go to the same elementary school. Like what you talking about?
Like, where they was like, where the hell is Hope Academy? Like, I'm from the West Side. They was like, like they got a stank
Yeah,
attitude. Like, what the hell? And then come to find out later on years, you little bitches went over to the West Side and was messing with the West Side niggas. Like,
man.
all right, now you talked all that shit. Now look where you ended up at.
And it's so funny because that's really how it is. Like, for as a person being in Shaker, like when you say, "Oh, you're not from Shaker," they're like, they would be like in high school, they'd be like, "Oh my God, where'd you come from?" But now when I say I'm from Shaker as like an adult, the first response I get is, "Oh, you from one of them suburbs," or "Oh, you grew up in Shaker." Like that's the first response I get, and I'm like, "Wow!" Like how the tables have turned.
For me, now, like the outcaster, like saying like I they everybody knew I moved around. So like the people I would like even when I go back home to Youngstown, they was like, okay, what school did you go? What school did you end up going for high school? I was like Shaker. Now it depends on who you talking to. When you say that.
Yes,
So like say like our age group, they be like, oh, you a suburb girl? I'm like, no, I graduated from Shaker. I did not live there. I wasn't raised there. They was like, take me. I'm like, no, because when you guys didn't know, like during breaks and all stuff like that, I was still, because my father passed away, but I still kept in routine to go back home every other weekend or during my breaks to go back home to Youngstown. So
right.
I feel major insulted when people be like, "Oh, you a suburb girl." I'm like, "No, I'm not even from Shaker. Look, I just got my diploma there. That's it.
I
I
can't
gotta
even
get it.
deny it.
Like I got my education done in Shaker. Like I did all my whole entire life. I literally got all my education done in Cleveland. And the crazy thing about it is, when you talk to people outside of Cleveland, all they know is Cleveland. So if you say
Hmm.
Shaker Heights, they gonna be like, "Huh?" It's like just be like a suburb in Cleveland. That's the best way you can explain it.
That's the best way I can explain it. Except I talked to because I went to Kent for college, and I talked to somebody who did live in Ohio, and I said, "Oh, I'm from Cleveland," and they're like, "Oh, okay, I know areas of Cleveland." Where about? And I said Shaker, and they actually knew exactly what I was talking about. And to me, that was so weird because, like you say, most of the time when you say, "Oh, I'm from Shaker," they be like, "Where?" And you be like, "Never mind, I'm from Cleveland." Like for somebody to know what I was talking about, I was like, "What?" And then I was reading the other day how like Shaker is in the top 20 like suburbs to grow up in. I'm like, what is going on? I'm like, this is really putting Shaker on the map. Like I didn't think anything different when I was in it.
Because during the time that we was in it, like low key, like sugar rates was like going up and down, or whatever. And then now all of a sudden, like after
Hmm.
what a couple years they graduated, they're back in the top 10 school. And I did see that article about the top 20 suburbs to raise your kids, and I was just like, really?
Right?
The
That's
amount,
what
the
I said.
amount,
Really?
the amount of ratchet kids I didn't see going in there. Okay, y'all do
And
your
all
thing
of the
out there.
stuff that's been in, like all the other like the negative stuff lately that's been in the news about them too. I'm like, what's going? Like, I'm like, what's the criteria?
That's the funny thing about it. That's what you expect from suburb school. If you really look back and think about it, it's a lot of little skeletons and also like that. And then it's crazy. It's like a movie. It's like watching a movie now.
Yeah.
I was
Do
just like,
you do you feel like now that you're an adult, like do you feel like your bubble was burst when you graduated?
no. The reason why is because I never adapted to the bubble.
Okay.
Like the amount of ridicule that I got, like the rudeness, the meanness. I technically got bullied. Imagine a thug getting bullied. Like it wasn't the type of bully. It was just like, oh, he scared me away. It was the talking because
Yeah.
till this day the females that still talk a lot of this stuff. I'm not gonna mention somebody's name. I will tell you after this. But I remember she was just talking so much smack freshman year, and I leaned over my desk, and you know me, I'm low key aggressive as hell. Like I do not back down from nobody. I
Right.
leaned, them desks you can move and quick as fucking them desks. I leaned that
Yes.
desk forward. It was like, say that to my face. She was like, oh my, I'm not gonna fight you. I don't know how to fight. I was like, keep talking. Someone's gonna rock your ass one day because you don't know how to control your mouth.
Exactly.
Um, I had that little teen class where like the English they kept putting me in them classes where English and history was together one
Yep.
period, all stuff like that. So Mr. T and I forgot her one name, and they was just like, Alicia. One of them was like, the female teacher said, Alicia, I need you to step out. Mr. T was like, no, keep her in. She's like, just move back a seat and calm down. Cause it's like, you're not about to sit here I'm not about to keep sitting here and taking this stuff. And I'm trying to be good. Cause going back home, It was like if I after dealing with this, it was like going to Shaker was an escape for me during high school year because me and my mom's relationship started to dwindle. So I
Mhm.
couldn't wait to go to school, but at the same time, I didn't want to go to school. But when school was over with, it was like, oh damn, I gotta go back to home and deal with this stuff.
Right.
I can't. I never really fully adapted to Shaker because one, it wasn't me. It wasn't my type. Like I couldn't be fake. Like a lot of people were so fake. And I'm not about to sit here and act like I'm cool with you because like I had a good memory. Like y'all guys sat there and called me gay. Y'all sat there and too tomboyish. I'm this and that. And then I remember someone like, this is like we like sixth grade, like the sixth grade year. You walking up to me talking about, oh, you think you all that because you got a head on your shoulders? I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with that? And
It
looking better as kids, I'm like, bitch, what the hell? You insulting me about that?
Yes, well, as a person, I say my bubble was definitely burst. Like as I talked about in my video on my Instagram, like I went through a really depressive year freshman year, and that's just because Shaker teaches you like, oh yeah, kumbaya, like we cool, but they don't teach you about the real life. When you get to the real world, first of all, not everybody gonna look like you, especially being black. Not everybody gonna act the way, not have the same mannerisms, and like you say, like in Shaker, everything was kumbaya to to the world. But like inside, there was a lot of rude people, bullying. There was a lot of stuff going down that like nobody ever acknowledges. And like you say, when you look back, you like, okay, like what is wrong with y'all? Like who raised some of y'all? Because truly, like the way some of the people that I knew I interacted with acted, I was like, something ain't right. Like I know I must be crazy because I just don't understand why y'all are treating people this way.
It's more, I think for you, it's more because that it's that bubble. You guys are accustomed to a certain lifestyle, a certain people, the certain
Mhm.
attitude, and all stuff like that. With me, it's just like I was already used to them type of attitude. So like once high school ended, I couldn't wait to get away from you motherfuckers. I'm not gonna cap. I could not wait to get out of Shaker. I was hoping that we was gonna move out of Shaker too.
Mhm.
So it was more. I knew I'm already used to the attitudes out in the real world. I'm already used to the reality of what it is because at the end of the day, like I said, I'm always back on the west side during the times. I'm either back on the west side. We did our shopping on the west side, also like that. You know, back home to Youngstown, it's just like I'm already adapted to the reality of the world. And my mom and my brothers, you know, they still taught me like the reality is, despite you getting this education here, the real word is you got to be a strong person. You got to be out here ready to take any type of hits that's coming your way.
Yeah.
So I was prepared. I was pretty much trained and prepared for that.
I wasn't, and I think it's the because I like my mom, like she's super strong. She raised me to be super strong. It was more of Shaker only gave you the option of you're gonna go to college and you're gonna have the greatest time of your life, and that's it. Like they didn't really help you set up if there was any other way or any other path you want to take. But what they don't talk about is that when you get to college, it's hard. It's an adjustment. Not everything is given to you, but it also like people just this bubble isn't real. Like I really wish they would have popped this bubble a long time ago. And now that I don't live in Shaker, like my family moved out of Shaker in the last year, it's so weird to drive through it because it's weird to know that like I used to literally go to high school here. I remember I brought one of my friends home from school and she was like, "What is that?" And I was like, "That's a high school." She was like, "That's the high school you went to?" Like Jesus Christ. That I was like, that was one of the middle schools. Like it's crazy now that I don't live in there to drive through and be like, this was literally my life 4 years ago.
Another thing about us, the difference between you and I feel like you had AP classes, didn't you?
I did.
Yeah, girl, I was at CP throughout my whole entire life.
I I wish I didn't take a like honestly looking back, I really wish I didn't take AP. It wasn't worth the stress. It wasn't worth the hassle. Everybody still got the same degree. Like it didn't matter.
The
None of
thing
it
about
mattered.
the another thing about it is though with the AP classes, it looked good because you guys it's gonna make it seem like all right, they're gonna set up the test a certain way for you, the guys. They gonna expect you to hit the score because you know in college you got to do your English and written, so you got to do like a little placement test for your classes.
Right, yeah.
It's gonna indicate where to push you at, what type of class level you're gonna be in. At one point, and shout out to Miss Bonner because Miss Bonner was my counselor. she
I
was
love
like,
Miss Bonner. Hey Miss Bonner girl.
she told me something about one of my grades, the rate I was going, she was like, we're thinking about putting you in an AP class. Bitch, did you know I started acting like I didn't know shit? because y'all not about to put that extra work on me. I was not having it because Deanne, Deanne's my best friend. She had a hella
Yeah.
AP classes. I'm like, I think they was about to do it in English for me, which I think I would have been okay. But y'all know, don't. I'm like, look, I barely don't want to do the work I'm doing now.
I
So what makes
remember
you think I want to do the extra work?
I dropped out my senior year. I was in like AP psychology, I think, and I was like, nope, got to get up through. I'll have 2 free periods. I was like, I just couldn't do it. Like I just could not do it.
That. And that's another thing. We go back to how you said like college is the way. Shaker really did. They cared. They just wanted you to get the hell out of Shaker, but with your degree. So yeah, they forced the college thing on us, but honestly, they prepared us for college. But they prepared us for the work wise. Now I respect that. I respect the fact the principal before he left, because low key I feel like it would have been different if he didn't leave us. I feel like it would have been like a different outcome.
Hmm.
I was surprised because the counselors were definitely helpful during the time where we had to send our applications for college and all stuff like that. Like they was really supportive because, honey, a kid like me needed all that support because my mom was in my ear like, you're so doubtful of me, and I was just like, whatever. So when we walking out of the whole shaker lifestyle or whatever bubble, I went to a community college because I was trying to be a good daughter and all that stuff like that. Girl, I was in that classes. Them old folks and new people at our age act like they didn't know what to do. They didn't know how to organize their stuff. They didn't know how to set up an outline. I was like, whoa.
You looking
That's
like
what.
this is a cakewalk.
And I'm like, ooh, that's I'm like, damn, that shaker genetics kicked in real quick. I was like, this is nothing.
Man, that's exactly how I feel when I like a couple of my classes my freshman year. I was like, why are y'all so stressed out? You just gotta do this, this, and this. And then I was like, oh wow, like I'm really prepared for this.
Like you can't. That's one thing you cannot like. They really did prepare you for college, but they don't really prepare you. They don't prepare you for real world because they give you these classes. The real world classes, like literally, was like eighth grade and be yes, school. That's when they gave us all the classes that we really needed to be taken in high school.
Yes. That's how I felt. I said, why are we taking cooking class when I'm 14? Why not do this when I'm 17 and I'm actually going to need it? And why, and us taking that class on how to do our checkbooks, like, why are we taking this when we're 14 and we don't even know what a checkbook is? We're
But
not even old enough to have a checkbook. You know how useful that would have been when I was 17?
especially the
Like,
credit thing, the credit part first year.
yes.
I bet you don't
Because I
nobody
know
got a
some
checkbook.
people.
No, nobody
Because
at our
I
age got a
know.
checkbook. I'm
I
like, bro.
know. I actually do have a checkbook, but I bet you, I bet you half the people we went to school now got some credit card debt because what they don't remember is that like you actually got to pay that stuff back. So they was probably like, "Oh, you gonna give me all this money? Bet let me open one up. Let me open two up." And now I probably got all this credit card debt. I'm not saying everybody, but I'm saying I bet you some people do
For
because
sure.
we were 13 and 14 learning this when it would have been useful when we were 17, 18 about to graduate. Like everything that they was pushing about college, they should have been pushing about this too.
But when you look at it, it's like overall though, it's probably like just the schooling agenda in the United
Yeah,
States overall.
I agree because they hounded that. What was it? P, PSAT and the ACT. Like they hounded that into us.
Man, my
They
mama was
hounded
like,
us
this is the one time
so
my
bad.
mom softened up about my education. She was like, we didn't have to do all this testing when I was growing up. I was like, okay, then all this shit just to get into college. Now I need you to relax because you ain't got to do this. I'm like,
At
yeah.
all.
She's like, when did they start doing this? I'm pretty sure they started doing this because I got brothers, so it's just like I want to say. I think my brother graduated from high school in 2006, 2005. So I feel like around that era of age group of people, I feel like that's when they start coming out with that. But
It was test.
I feel like they added a few tests add along for us to end up taking. So it's like 3 tests we had to take or 2, SAT and
SAT, ACT, and the OGT slash OAT, whatever they wanted to call it at the time, to graduate.
that shit said OGT. Bro, I swear to God, them niggas was not trying to give me my science score right. I had to retake science 3 times, right? This is how I knew it was a game and they was playing with me. I had my credit. I didn't have to take no more English science classes because like clearly I knew what the fuck I was talking about in science. First time we took it, 399. Y'all could have given me that 1 point. Y'all didn't want to give
No,
me that 1 point. Second
they
time I
sure
took
didn't.
it, 4 something. Third time I took it, for something. I'm like, y'all cannot. I'm like, at this moment, I was like, y'all cannot retest. She was like, we retest. It's not gonna be in time for you to walk across the stage. Even with all my credits, they stopped. They literally stopped kids from walking across the stage with all their credits last year, the year before us, and said that you needed to pass your OGT. Y'all gave me the same score twice. Y'all are bullshitting me at this point. Boom. After that, took it during the summer or whatever. Got a 4.11 on that shit.
That's ridiculous. Like I feel like if you notice that I know what I'm talking about, like you say getting a 399, come on now, you know I'm about to work across the stage. Just bump me up to a 400 so we ain't even gotta have a chat.
I would have had passed all my stuff that 10th grade year.
That is ridiculous. Like, and that's the problem. Like, why did it take from 10th grade year to when we graduated for them to notice and tell you you have to retest? Why not back in 10th grade so it didn't matter? It wouldn't have even been an issue.
Retook the test 11th grade year. Got that low. They somehow went lower. Retook it again. That I guess I think senior year.
It's just
Failed it
ridiculous.
again.
Yeah.
That time they got that score, she put me in that class thing to prepare me to take that test. I don't know what the deal was, but it just threw me on loop. That's why Shaker do fall commencements now because of any kids that fail that stuff to give them the opportunity to walk across the stage. Man, that graduation was trash. My mom was talking shit. My auntie was acting like a mother to me. My brothers missed it. I literally said, "Forget this shit." That night I should have gone ahead and filed to go refile it to go to YSU. Honestly, because I was already taking classes at Kent State, not Kent State, at Tri C.
I
Literally
just
had to cancel. I had an evening class. Told her I couldn't make it because I was graduating. She was happy for me. I'm just like, this is nothing. This should have been happened during the summer.
man. I don't even remember graduation. I know like I went.
You know that I went.
I know I walked. I know that I went. I know that I walked across the stage, but I can't remember a single like that was truly a blur. Like I just remember that day I woke up and we all wore white because why do we do that? Like I don't get why we do that, but we all wore white and like
Because they was enforcing
I went
everybody that
that
you got this
stage.
white gown, you make sure you got to wear white underneath the gown.
You have to wear white
I
underneath
can't
the
get red.
gown,
Everybody knew when I said
and the
red.
boys have to wear red and you know what? Another thing that really bothers me, it wasn't like I was gonna win it, but why don't we have valedictorian? I feel like that is another thing that bothered me about Shaker is that they
Ooh.
don't want to praise competition. We couldn't have prime king or queen. We couldn't have salutatorian and valedictorian. Like it was everybody had to be equal. And we all knew we weren't equal. Half of our class was going to Ivy League, and the other half was going to a state college. Which is not saying that we're all bad, but that's just the truth. Like it was, it wasn't always
Them
even for
Ivy Leagues
everybody.
is crackheads now. The fuck? Majority of them, first of all them kids, the prestige kids that they was sitting there that was up top notch, they either thoughts or some fucking drug addicted ass kids. Like, let's be real. You go to a suburb, y'all niggas like to fuck up your lives because of the amount of stress that y'all had to go through to living this lifestyle and all so like that. I'm not saying you, but just like overall, seeing
Oh
like
yeah,
how suburb kids moves, like bruh, senior year, one of the hockey players came into class after they won the state championship or whatever. That nigga was fucked up. He put his head up. Was like, anybody got an ibuprofen? No one said nothing. He put his head back down and went to sleep. Was asleep for the whole entire class. I'm not gonna
there
mention no
was.
name to the teacher because he low key finessed my grade and allowed me to graduate. But shout out to him. That nigga didn't give a fuck about that. He already knew what was up. He already knew how the second kids was moving in that school.
It was like when you look back, there was so many. I'm never gonna say like everything that happened, but like there was a lot of questionable things that people were doing in high school, like
Oh,
drinking
for sure.
wise, drug wise, like, and that's crazy to me because now that I've been through college and I've seen it at a heightened level, I'm like, we shouldn't have been doing that in high school. Like, I can only imagine what y'all doing in college. This was some
That's a
light
pro
work in high
sport.
school.
That college life is just nothing to them. They didn't train themselves
No.
during high school to get to that level.
True. I wasn't there. I was not there. When I got to college, I was a baby.
I never. That's the thing. I never had that actual full college experience. I have stayed, went to visit friends and all stuff like that. But that ain't me. That's one thing I was like, damn, I'm low key happy went to a community college, but it's like it's not like you couldn't live off campus if you went to a state college or whatever, like an actual university. I was just like, I couldn't
Hmm.
have no dorm. I couldn't have no roommate because you look at the stories now with the roommates and stuff like that, girl. I would have had to call a murder
Yeah.
case.
Me and my roommate didn't like each other. Like, well, we didn't like each other, but we didn't like each other for real, for real. It was just cleanliness issues. But when I look back at some of the roommate issues I've dealt with, I'm like, oh, this was a cakewalk because y'all killing y'all roommates. I didn't kill my roommate and she didn't kill me. We actually walked across stage and said hi to each other after we graduated and was like, hey girl, hey girl. But like some people are really killing their roommates and that's crazy to me. Like I'm like, wow.
That's why I ain't. That's why I ain't got white friends. Like I'll admit it, I'm racist. I do not fuck with the white folks. But they be like, but you're mixed with white, bitch. I'm 10% fucking Italian. That where that gene in? That's a recessive gene. Okay,
Well, being from Shaker, I'm open to anybody and everybody. I definitely have a more black friend group now, like very, very black friend group now. But I'm still open to anybody. I still hang out with some of the people I went to high school with that like that I were actually close with. Most of the people, like if I saw them in the mall, I'm gonna tell y'all now I'm running away from you. But that's just because I hate the awkward, like, how are you? And oh, what's been going on? Like I hate those conversations. I hate small talk. So when I'm in the mall shopping and I see somebody from high school that I wasn't really close to, but I like we know each other, I run away from them because I don't even want to have that
girl,
encounter. Unless, you happen to be with your parent and our parents know each other and then it's like,
you're
it's
forced. You're
inevitable.
forced to speak.
You're
Girl, I've been
forced.
running away from y'all since 5th grade. If seeing y'all in public.
But but I can't do it now. Like if I see you at the Beechwood Mall, I'm probably not gonna speak. But the people that I was like close to in high school, I still hang out with them. I was friends with everybody in high school. I honestly did say that. I said in high school I might only have like three or four like really really close friends, but I was cool with everybody
Me
because
too.
I never felt the need. I never felt exactly like I never felt the need to not be cool with anybody. Everybody
It's
was cool
just
because
the way
we had grew up together.
is.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. Because I'm still close to that. I got like 3 friends that I knew since kindergarten. That's like one of my tightest people to this day from the West Side. I still am tight to. I'm really close to the people I actually had classes with when I first was in Shaker and also like that. So I'm cool with the people I pretty much grew up with. But okay, I'm cool with the white folks. It's just that it's a distance. Because even looking about it now, like it really wasn't all that tight. Like I literally thinking about it now. Growing up, I literally had one white friend, but I think she low key got black in her, so I let her slide. I ain't gonna mention the other person's name because me and her fell out a couple of times, and like her racism low key kicked in at one point, and I was just like, oh yeah, I'm
Girl.
done. And but I know how to you know me. It's just that like white people like got to switch. So it
Mhm.
depends on who you entertaining with the white folks. Sometimes you're gonna come across the wrong one.
Sure.
And then sometimes, that's the one that like literally will support and push Black Lives Matter with you. Will sit there and walk in the marches and all like that. But I ain't got time for it because one, I ain't got time to be around a fucking wet dog. The white people stink.
Oh my god.
Even as a kid, I really never really interacted with white. I promise you, I did not interact with the white kids. Teachers, because you respect your dogs. But as a kid,
You have right. You
man,
have
them
to.
kids, Hope Academy, them kids was getting dirty in them uniforms. It was like if I went home like that, my mama is whooping my ass.
Cause who wants to wash a uniform every day? Nobody.
I was just not having it. Trump, I blame Trump because now these white folks thinking they running the world again because Trump in the office. Like, bruh, oh my.
That is one thing I will say that I will not talk about politics with my white friends, and that goes for any of them unless I know your political view. It's mostly the white friends I have from Shaker. The white friends I've made in life, I won't talk about my political views with them because they're going to be substantially different. And going from Kent to Shaker, it's funny. I remember when the election was happening in Shaker, you would see all the Hillary signs, all the Bernie signs, and Kent was Trump signs, like straight Trump. Like they didn't care, had flags raised, everything. So unless like I know you're political, I'm not talking about them with you because 9 times out of 10, I can have a civilized conversation with you, but there's something about Trump that will make me not have a civilized conversation with you. If you said you were voting for Mitt Romney, I would have been like, that's even cool. Like we could talk. But the moment you would have said I'm voting for Donald Trump, not only would I have evaluated you as a person, I would have evaluated you as my
I
friend. Like,
really,
bro, we might not can kick it. We might cannot be cool no more because I just don't get down with his views. I don't get down with his ways. And honestly, I will die on that hill if y'all vote him in office. come November, I'm never speaking to anybody again. Like, I'm just not. Like, this is crazy. We're living in a crazy world where he really is doing the most. And for any person who can, like, I don't even know the word I'm looking for, but like can basically support him. There ain't even no beef. There ain't no beef with you. We just not cool. We not kicking it. We not friends. That's it.
My thing is, any black person I know that would like admit to voting for Trump, like they don't, they won't admit it now. But my thing is, at the time, why? Like that's all I want to know, just why. I'm not gonna smack you.
Just
I'm
why?
not gonna smack you. I'm not gonna even move, budge, nothing. I just want to know your reasoning why.
That's a lie because you know you gonna want to smack
No,
them.
because it's just like you're idiotic. Already won. Like I'm not about to. I don't need to physically attack you when you're playing stupid in the first place. So it's just reasoning why. Like I really
Mhm.
want to know because I know there's some white black people that really did vote for them. It's just like why? What views did you connect with this man?
And as liberal as Shaker is, I want to know how many people actually voted for Trump. Because there are a lot of rich people that live in Shaker. Like a majority of the population is rich.
No, duh,
And they might
Sherlock.
not, I know, but they might not have voted for him for like social issues, but for like business purposes, they might have. And I want
that's
to
the,
know. I want to
that's another
know.
thing. The
I
reason
want to
why
know.
I look at Trump like two ways because like you sit there in seventh grade going to Shaker, they sit here and tell you that you need the politics experience to get into office. Why? Then well, that's a fucking lie. Because Trump has none.
Bold face lie.
Trump has none, and that's the thing. Trump, like everybody, fucked with Trump prior because he was a smart ass businessman. But and that's one thing. Is I don't like certain things he just don't need to talk on. But when you sit back and watch him, you really watch him how he runs America like a business because America is a business. That's one credit I do give him. He runs this shit like a business, but that nigga don't care. At some point, them nigga do not care. He don't care because you see how they want to open up the hair salons and also like that. How they try to set that stuff up first, bro. That's a trap for black people because you know how black people gonna get once they get their essentials, their main essentials back. That's a trap for them to get set up to get sick.
Yeah.
But when you really look at it, Trump is really just running this shit like a business. But it's just that certain the remarks and certain stuff that goes on, he don't need to comment on. Especially like the story about the five guys, his comments. And he already said that they throw him in jail even before the documentary and the story, the movie came out and also like that. He still thinks the same way.
Hmm.
It's like how if their evidence it's like you talking all this shit with evidence proving that they didn't do nothing. They was not involved.
He's a habitual liar. That's just all. That's all. That's all you can even like chop it up to be because he'll lie and then he'll be caught in the lie. So he'll make another lie to cover up the lie that he just told and then just be like, all right, sir, I don't want to hear it.
For you, I feel like you just face the reality because the thing about it is 9 and 10 of the time, Trump is probably gonna get reelected.
Oh, I say it all the time.
He's
I'm not dumb. I think he probably is, but for once in my life I would like to be like, oh no, the government's actually gonna work in our favor.
never. The
In the
government
back of
is
my
not
head, I was
designed
about to
for
say,
black people.
in the back of my head, I know that's a lie. I know that's a bold faced lie.
Like you sit there. I remember I actually paid attention to history. I paid attention to government class. You look at them. You look
Me
at the
too.
amendments and also like that. The system is not designed for black folks at all.
And it's funny because everything that they made us learn in government and made us memorize, like you say, none of it actually is benefiting us. Like, great, I know the Ten Amendments, but or in the Bill of Rights, but what is that gonna do for me?
I remember, and then that's another thing. I remember I had African American history class. I only took it because there was a black teacher that was teaching it at the time, and he
Hmm.
retired our senior year. So I was just like, oh my god, forget it. And then it was too late for me to switch my class out anyway. And that teacher, literally the first day we took that class, he said, I cannot teach you guys your history. I'm sorry, I'm gonna tell the truth. I cannot teach it. Like, what sense does it make for a white man to teach you guys your history? Sat there and watched 3 movies. I know one of them was Selma. I think it was 12 Years a Slave, and I forgot the other one because we never made it to that. I was just like, bro, that's pretty much how you gonna teach our history.
The same story told three different ways.
I was just like, he did start breaking it down and also like that, and a lot of us really started to pick up what was going on in the world and also like that, so we knew. But
I appreciate his honesty. And I remember that class because I remember being like, hey, why is this not? It wasn't a highly promoted class. Like, if
you would have
you
never
had
known
to
unless that had
I was
that
about to
black
say
teacher.
if you didn't have that black professor or like that black I'm so used to college black teacher, then you would have never known. Like you had to literally sought that out and go talk to your guys' counselor and be like, I want to be in that class. And that's crazy to me because like I say, like they preach like we're all kumbaya, but you forcing a push down my throat, you forcing US government, psychology, all of this stuff that when I got to college I didn't didn't even want to study any of. But African American history would have been actually useful to me.
Because I had the same teacher for government for African American history. I had government first semester, African American history the end of my semester, and I got cooler. Like the respect level between me and that teacher actually grew after that because he
Mhm.
was fucking annoying during government. Man, I was sick of his shit. There's a lot of teacher shit I was sick of for
Man.
real.
Ooh, we can go down that road because
I was sick of second
I don't
period.
even know. Yeah, by the time I graduated, I was like, I'm trying to get up through. Like, I remember how I forgot what happened. They was trying to ruin lawn day from what I can remember. And I just remember being like, all the stuff that we had worked and looked forward to. By the time we got to it, I was like, this is just not it. Me and my friend was talking the other day about prom. We were like, looking back, I probably wouldn't have gone to prom, or I probably wouldn't have put as much effort into it. Like, it was just like, for what? Like, all this time, money, and effort for this one night. When we look back, that neither of us liked our dress, our hair. Like, was it like all of the stuff that I was looking forward to? I was just like, was it even worth it back then? Back then, it was all worth it. But now I'm like, was it?
This wasn't. None of this stuff going through high school was just like literally. Now I get what you say. Like, yeah, our bubble pretty much busted. I can say that you got put in this thing to really like. I busted my own damn bubble to get the fuck out of it because it was really. And then people talk about they miss high school and all. So I'm like, yeah, no, it was nothing to miss. There's
I
nothing to
miss
miss.
the easiness of it and how, like, I just felt like everything was so much easier in high school. Like, my friends were easier, my life was easier. My life was consisting of going to class all day, going to work, going home, and doing the little homework that I had to do. And then, junior year was a little harder because college, but life was so much easier. I didn't have real bills, I didn't have real stuff. But besides, like, actual, like, fun stuff in life, I would never go back to high school.
Can't relate. Can't relate to that pain. I'm not gonna lie to you. I cannot relate to that pain because it's pretty much like that. Just shows the two different lifestyles living inside a bubble. Like you guys, you pretty much had more freedom than I did, and on top of that, my responsibilities was already kicking in at 17. I was already paying bills. I
Yeah,
was already doing that stuff. I'm pretty much ahead in advance of like what everybody else is doing now. Like I don't think you know, like I live by myself. Like I have my own place and everything. It's like my third a place I didn't have in my life. So just like that just goes to shows like there's two black females coming from a bubble
same place.
but two different lifestyles, two different
Two
routes.
different lives. Yeah, like, cause I didn't. I didn't have any of that. My life didn't really kick in until I went to college. So very different. But like, I can honestly say the same because at the end of the day, we're both successful in our own ways.
Facts.
So that's all that really matters.
For real. Oh my goodness, guys, we did not introduce you to her. This is
All
Riyon.
right. Well, hi guys. I'm Riyon. We really just talked for like 40 minutes and didn't even do an introduction. Hey guys, I'm Riyon on Instagram at underscore
Girl,
RIYON
that stuff will be in
and
the bio and the information on all the
period.
stuff. I got you.
Oh, period. Well, that's it. I Riyon.
No, but
Wow.
it was so fun catching up with you. You and I have been kikiing back and forth for a minute now, so I was like, you know what? I gotta
I
just pull her
know.
on the episode because that bubble. I was like, yes, I need her. We gonna talk about this.
Well, I'm glad. I had fun. This is cute.
I did too.
It was a nice little kiki.
Honestly. But I love you, girl, and I wish you the best with
You
everything.
too. Keep going. I was listening to your other episodes. I like this. I like this little setup you got going. So keep going. Keep pushing.
Thank you, love. But I'm Alicia,
All right.
guys, and that's Real Talk